Hi Sugars, it's Queen Sugar and my channel name is called The Real Queen Sugar, and this will be my first video uploading the new start of my channel. If you have watched my channel before, you notice that I haven't posted a video in 3 years. That's just because really life has been lifing, I guess. But I am restarting my channel, and as I stated, the channel name is The Real Queen Sugar. So what this channel will be all about is my widow journey. So I wanted to start my videos with this one being the first about how I became a 48-year-old widow. So in order to tell that story, I have to take it back to 2002. So in 2002, I started a new job. And when I started that job, not too long after I started the job, I met my husband who worked at that job before I did. So I met him through the job. So me and him became really close friends. And 2 years into becoming close friends, we got into a relationship. Me and him worked in two different departments, and the friendship grew, and it just blossomed into love. So in 2003, toward the end, we started moving into talks of being together. So we did, and we made it official in 2004. We became a couple, and me and my husband had a wonderful life. He showed me a lot of things that I had not experienced before, as far as being such a strong family within your own household, as well as being a family with your outside family, your family connections. My husband also gave me stability as far as me and my three kids were concerned. And he just did a lot of things that, really made me happy, as well as blessed him in the same way. So I'll take it from that date and I'll move it up until 2009. So at that time, it was like a 5-year stretch had passed, and we experienced all kind of bliss being together and growing our family together. Him raising my three children, and just being together and being happy. My husband did not have any biological children, so my children gave him that sense of everything, and what we gave him was also what he gave us, because he gave my children a good father, and that is what we all needed. So in 2009, my husband was diagnosed with diabetes type 2. So it altered the way we did some things in life. My husband, I will say that my husband, when we met, he was healthier than I was. He would ride bikes. He would be ready to walk and do all kind of things. My husband, when I met him, he was a driver, and he was used to walking extended periods and doing things, whereas I really wasn't, I would say, to be honest. So when he got diagnosed with diabetes in 2009, we started to change a couple of things, and as we changed these things, it became a lot better, a lot easier. So then I will focus it on moving forward. I'm trying to get these periods out so you can understand the dynamics of our love. So that was in 2009. So we're going to move after that, and I must say that in between this time, we got married, and we were raising the kids together, and we were just having a lovely life. So then fast forward to 2014, my husband was diagnosed with glaucoma, which is an eye disease, if you're unfamiliar. So with that diagnosis, he started to begin to have to go through surgeries. He ended up having 5 eye surgeries and 1 actual eye cornea replacement. It altered our life a little bit. Whereas, again, he was a courier, he was a driver. So as it advanced in the different stages of glaucoma, he could no longer do that. So my husband retired. So in 2017 toward 18, 2018, I'll say, my husband went completely blind from the glaucoma. So it kind of changed the dynamics of our relationship. For example, when I met my husband and we got together, my husband loves to cook. So he would cook, I would say, 4 times out of the week, and I would cook the other 2, and then we would go out to eat, 1 day a week. My husband loved to clean. My husband cleaned a lot of the times. I cleaned probably 40%, and he cleans the other 60%. It's just his nature. My husband is ex-military, so he was very, strategic about how he liked everything done, how he liked to look, how he liked to host. My husband was just a very ball of fun. So when he became completely blind, our kind of household duties kind of changed a little bit. I began to cook 100% of the time, and I was doing some of the other things that I did not do prior to my husband losing his sight. So I would say that my husband losing his sight brought us, if we could get even any closer together, that drew us even closer together, because it was important for me to let him know that no matter what, I was here for the longevity, as well as I knew that he was here for the longevity. So after he lost his sight, we started changing up the roles, because we did not have traditional roles in our households. Whatever needs to be done, that's how we did it, and I loved it that way. So moving on up to 2024. So in last year, in March of 2024, my husband had a stroke. So we ended up going to the VA hospital, the Veterans Hospital, and my husband was held there for, I think, 4 days, and then they released him to do home therapy at home, and he made a full recovery from that. And he changed up some things that like what he was eating and some different things, and he was doing really good. So we really didn't never think nothing about it. We went on and stuff, and so I don't know if it was God or what, but after he had that stroke in that month, I took off for FMLA at my job, and it was important for me to be with my husband every day, count every day, just to be there, because I needed him to know the importance of us being together for his healing. So he did make a great recovery from that, and we went on, and we spent these every day together and doing all these wonderful things, some bucket list things, and we were just doing some things. So on June the 8th of 2024, take it back, it was June 6th of 2024, my husband complains of a bad headache. So when he told me he had a headache, I asked him, is it really bad, or is it tolerable or what? He told me it was like an 8. So I told him, okay, well, we'll try some extra strength Tylenol, for a headache, and we will just try that and then see if it's better by the morning. So that next morning I asked him, because I work a work from home job, so I asked him around noon that day. I said, how are you feeling? Is the headache gone? And he told me, no, it's not getting no better. So I didn't want to take a chance. So I told him, okay, well, let's go on out to the VA to see what's going on. Just better be safe than sorry. Actually, that's what we both, thought when we left the house that day. So I took him out there. They immediately started to scan him because he was in a priority group 1 with the VA. So they immediately started to run these tests on him. So I think 20 minutes after we got there, they told us that he had a stroke. So it was 3 months prior that he had the other stroke that he recovered from. So they told us he had a stroke this day. And they told us that, it was a light stroke and he would be going, he could do therapy within the VA for 6 weeks, or he could do it at home. And my husband told him, of course, that he wanted to do his therapy at home. So that was on a Wednesday when that happened. So that Friday morning, he was supposed to be discharged that Saturday. That Friday morning, my husband called me on the phone, and I said hello. This was like an hour before I was supposed to come up there. This was like 6 a.m. I said hello, and he was struggling to say his words, but I could tell after a little while that he was telling me to come up there. So I just went on and left at 6 that morning and went up to the hospital. And so when I got there, my husband was, telling me his head was really bothering him. And I could notice that his speech was a little bit slurred. So I called for the nurse, and the nurse came in, and they told me that they was thinking that he had another stroke in the middle of the night. So they were going to run tests and everything. So around about this time, it was getting close to lunchtime, and my husband was a fairly good eater, and so I was giving him his lunch. I was feeding him his lunch, and my husband only ate 2 helpings of his food, which was not normal for us or for him. So when he did that, it was kind of surprising to me. So that 3rd helping, I went to put it to his mouth, and he said, "No more." And I said, "What?" Because his voice got really low at that point. And so I said, "What did you say?" And he said, "No more." Kind of like in a firm voice, but very low. So I said, "Okay." So I went to put the food up and everything. And so maybe an hour later had passed, and my husband said, "My head is hurting." And he coughed a couple of times. So I was getting concerned. So I called the nurse in again, and I asked her, I said, his head is not feeling any better, and I noticed that he's coughing. He's coughed like 2 or 3 times since I've been here, and he was not coughing yesterday. So she said, "Okay, well, I'll call the doctor, and we'll get him something for the cough. Maybe he's catching a cold. We'll get him something for the cough." And I said, "His head is not feeling any better. Can we just, have the doctor come and check him again?" So the doctor over the phone ordered some more scans. And so it was around about Friday evening. They said that the doctor had ordered him some morphine. And I asked the nurse, why did they order him morphine? And she said they just wanted to make him comfortable because they noticed that his head was hurting really bad. So I still wasn't really thinking anything about it. So fast forward to the next day, which was Sunday. So his doctor came back downstairs, and she said she wanted to talk to me. So she asked me to come outside of his room. So I came out and I talked to his doctor. And she told me, basically, she said that the stroke that he had on Wednesday was a light stroke, but the stroke that he had on that Friday morning was very damaging to him. And she said that it caused damage to the back of his brain, and it was spreading, and they could see blood on the scans on his brain, and it was causing some swelling for him. And I said, "What are you trying to say? What are you telling me?" And she said, she shook her head. She said, "I don't think that this is going to be good." She said, "Can you just really, call your children?" And when she asked to call my children, I don't know what I was thinking in my mind. I still wasn't thinking that, but she asked me, could I call my children? And so I called my children, and I said the doctor wants to meet with us and the team. And she said at this point, she said, okay, well, the neuro team wants to move him to ICU because of the swelling, and we have to make some rash decisions. Can your children be here within the next hour? And I said yes. So by that time, I had went home to get my youngest son, and my older two children had got to the hospital. And so we went to meet with the physician, and we went into a conference room, and the neuro team, ICU team, was there at the time. So the ICU doctor started to talk, and he started telling me, basically, he said that we have a choice here. You have a choice here. We can take him into surgery, but we're not guaranteeing that he can make it through surgery because of the massive amount of swelling on his brain. And if he does make it out of surgery, we cannot tell you that he won't be a vegetable for the rest of his life. When the doctor said that, my world went dark. I know the doctor said it. I didn't believe it in my heart, to be honest. I did not believe it. I didn't want to accept it. When I saw my youngest son kind of fold over a little bit, like he was about to pass out, and I heard screams, I didn't even recognize that half of the screams was me, and the other one was my children. I was just numb. I looked over at my husband, and I asked him quietly not to leave me. And then I recognized that it had been hours since my husband spoke to me. And I looked back at the doctors and the ICU team, and I said, well, because at that time my children said, Mom, he would not like to live that way. And if there's any chance that he would be laying somewhere like a vegetable, we don't want that. He wouldn't want that, and we can't take that. So I went back to the ICU team and I said, so if I decide against the surgery, how long will he live? And my world went crashing down once the doctor said 24 to 48 hours at the most. This was Saturday evening. When I heard that, so many things went through my mind. The things that went through my mind was just everything. Honestly, everything went through my mind. I just could not believe what I was hearing. I could not believe the face of my children. I could not believe what this meant for our whole family. I could not believe what this meant for our two grandsons that my husband adored. And I just could not believe. I was in disbelief. So that was Saturday evening. That next morning, me and my daughter got to my husband's side, and around 7 that morning, and the first thing I noticed when I walked in was my husband was making a sound from his throat. So when the doctor saw us, he walked immediately in, and I asked what was that sound, and he said that the sound was coming from, this being at rest right here. And I guess your throat, your windpipe is just kind of like relaxing a little bit. So he was making that noise. And so he said, do you want to go ahead and move him now to the community care hospice area, or do you want us to go ahead and do that now? So I said we can go ahead and move him now. So we moved over, and we had a lot of visitors that day. Family came over, and then the last people to visit, some friends came, and the last people to visit was our bishop from our church and their family, his wife and children. So they came and they did this beautiful prayer, and we all grabbed hands, and when he wished blessings on our family and wished us, wished for him to recover and to be safe in God's arms. So when the prayer ended, one of the people that was in prayer noticed that my husband Leroy was not making that sound in his throat no more that was so constant since the day before, since that Sunday morning, And so I walked up to him. I immediately thought, okay, this was God healing him, and this was where we were going to, be okay, and he was going to be healed. So I walked up to my husband, and I put my arm on his chest, and I gave him a kiss, and I told him, I said, Leroy, it's going to be okay. Bishop just prayed, and I know that God is going to heal you. And I noticed that he was a little warm. He was kind of hot. He had a fever that morning. So I turned around and I said, well, let me go and let the nurses give him some for his fever. So I walked out the room, and I called his nurse back in. And I told him that he had a fever. Can he come and, give him something for the fever? So he said, okay. So he walked back in the room with another nurse, and he said, can y'all come out? We need to, just check him and stuff. So I said, okay. So my intention was to go out and tell the people that came to visit, thank you for coming to visit. I appreciate it. The prayers, all these things. So I was outside the room probably, they kept us out maybe 5 minutes. And so I was standing and I was looking outside the window that was 2 doors down. And I remember having my back turned to the door, and I heard his nurse, a male nurse, say, call my name, kind of in a medium tone, not loud, but just a medium tone. So when I turned around, he was walking toward me, and he held both of his hands out to me. And he said, I'm sorry, but Leroy left a couple of minutes ago. And I blacked out. So at 48 years old, I became a widow. My husband passed away on June the 10th, 2024, which is exactly 8 months ago. So everything is still fresh in me. I'm sharing my story not so someone can have pity for me or anything like that. I'm sharing my story because it's going to be a help to me as well, because this is a very hard journey that I'm going through. This last 8 months has been a life changer. My husband died on June the 10th. 3 days later was my birthday, June 13th. The next day was Father's Day. So I had to experience 3 huge things back to back within a week's time. So I'm 48 and I'm a widow. And I will begin to share my story, whether it's sad, happy times, me learning new routines, me doing whatever is necessary for me to survive on my widow journey. I hope that you will continue to watch my channel. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you subscribe, you hit the like button, you share my video for anyone that you know that who this could help, or just be here for my journey. I appreciate you all for watching so much. And until my next video, Queen Sugar out. Bye.